Righto. I don't know why I said that. All right, looks like we were ready to go. Just got everything set up, and in true live fashion, I just updated header. Why? Because I'm insane. Why it aired on the first launch, I have no idea. But here we are. All right, we're using Adder. We're using GPT 4.0. It's our client, our model, if you will. And we're going to run with it from here. So what do we need to do? If we remember, we had to add files. I'm going to split this down. Um, and we're going to talk about where we are first. And that way I could have just a terminal outside of Adder because I like to see what files I'm working with. We'll add these in a second. So let's do a little bit of recap. Um, Run, go. It's right here. All right, we're gonna run this via Adder. That way we can get some output and some logs. So first off, sorry I missed last week. There was a hurricane in Florida. Some of you may have known that. Some of you may not have. It also wreaked havoc across the entire Midwest or Mideast rather, Mideast in the mountains, Georgia area, etc. I was relatively unaffected, but you know, Friday hurricane days are fun days in Florida. If you're, if there's a hurricane, just keep everybody home. So we had some fun with the kids, did some science projects, been doing a lot of 3D printing lately. We can get into that at a later time. But as for this, we're just gonna come right out of the gate and kind of start off where we left off 2 weeks ago. And we're going to continue this series. This will be the last series that we do on OpenAI GPT 4.0 at the very least. I've been really thinking about where we're going to take this series, and instead of going to another LM and trying to rebuild chess again with it, although that would be a great comparison, I'm just going to continue to extend upon and iterate on this. The plans for the future are LLMs battling LLMs, and then also using Stockfish to do live analysis and post analysis on those games, so that we can really, what we want to do is evaluate the cognitive. It's not really cognitive, but you can think of it as the cognitive or reasoning ability of the LLMs. So this is kind of a practice for me to kind of get there, and we can kind of see how it goes. Doing a lot again with LLMs, and so this is kind of fun for me. And so if you enjoy it, stick around, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, well, peace out. Not changing myself for you. All right, so let's kind of talk about where we got to. So last week we struggled a little bit, and or 2 weeks ago, and we're still stuck on the LM coding out algebraic notation properly. So it works in most cases. I can't move to an invalid square, so you can see there, but I can make a valid move. And if I try to move this piece again, well, that's also a bug. So it assumed that I was moving the other pawn, but that's okay. We'll figure that out as well. But we can move pieces relatively within the realm of their ability, as you can see here. And that's pretty good. Those are all invalid moves. So that's awesome. We're just kind of using the not nil library to do that validation for us. So we know it like on drop. Obviously, it's not the queen's move, so we can't do that. But we can move this out, and we can move this out, and we can move this out, this out. This all works reasonably well. Again, a few bugs here and there, but you could imagine like chess would kind of work like that. But then let's say I wanted to capture this pawn. Well, that's an invalid move. And if we take a look here at what the attempt was, it's stated as QCX3. And so we know still that our algebraic notation is not working correctly on captures. Our algebraic notation works much better when it comes to, or works just fine when it comes to just normal moves, but when we start getting into captures, it kind of fails. So this actually in algebraic notation should, I believe, be QXC3. And that's kind of the shorthand algebraic notation, or it really is just referred to as algebraic notation. There's a long form that is a little bit more explicit that we might explore that I think will be easier for the program to understand. But we're moving from queen here to this position. Um, and as you can see, that is not working on the capture. And so what we did last week is we built some tests. And so if we run go test, we should see we have a test here, and that test has some specific expectations for the two algebraic notation and what we actually want to see there in that spot. So you can see here that we're actually failing on the captures. We want NXC3, but we got NCX3. We want D3, or we got D3, and we want DXC3. So it's having a hard time understanding the capture concept. And so I would like to simplify our two algebraic notation a few ways. So first, let me explain when you think through the complexities here of what two algebraic notation might be. Although I think I have these numbers inversed, you'll kind of get the point. And these letters I think are in the right spot. So for C, 3C, moving 4A to 3C is a move. And if we execute this move, what we would, an issue we might run into from here to here is that the capture of that pawn by a knight is also valid here. So in short algebraic notation, if there was only one knight available, that would just be KA XP, or I'm sorry, it would be KXP. And if there's only one knight and one pawn. But because we have multiple pawns, we have multiple knights, or multiple knights rather, we have to indicate where that knight is and where it's going. And the short notation for that would be KA, so the knight on A in the A column, to the pawn. And that's the short notation. However, there's a long form notation that we could use that indicates the very specific knight and the very specific square it's in. Actually, this should be not 4A, it should be A4. KA4 captures pawn C3. So now with this long notation, it actually is easier to calculate because we don't have to, for every time in this scenario, we would have to say, okay, we have a knight. Are there any other knights that can also capture the square? And if so, do or don't capture. And so that's particularly a hard task to solve. However, we can simplify just by doing the long form notation, and then we know that if there ever is a piece on the square that we're going to, that becomes a capture, and then it's just KA4 to capture PC3. And so I think I want to simplify into that technique and using long form notation. So we're going to start there and see if we can adapt that, and then we can adapt our tests to be a two long algebraic notation. And so I think that's where we're going to head. And I'm kind of doing this so that I was thinking about this problem over the weekend or over the last 2 weeks, and while I could code the simpler form of algebraic notation, there's plenty of people out there who have done that. It adds some extra complexity that this just simplifies, because I don't have to program and say, okay, if I'm taking this knight and I'm capturing here, well, in order for me to provide that as algebraic notation, I have to then look at every other possible capture to the pawn to see if it's a knight. And if there are any knights within capturability to it, I then have to say, okay, now I need to clarify what knight is then capturing that pawn. And then also at the destination, I have to say, okay, do I have other pawns that are capturable or on the board? And if so, how do I denote them, and what rank and files are they in? So using the long form is easier for a beginner to know or learn, and will be easier to code because we can just eliminate all of those variables by always providing the source. So the piece meaning knight, its rank and file, and then the destination rank and file, and if it's a piece, indicating the piece and the fact that we're capturing. So I'm going to lead the LLM in that effort, just because I think it'll be easier for it to work with. And so Just kind of, we can go over the documentation here. If you look at the Wikipedia page for algebraic notation, this might help a little bit. E4 to E5 are two moves that pawns would take, a pawn to E4 and a pawn to E5. You can see that here. But the longer form is E2, so it's source, to E4, destination, E7 its source, to E5 its destination. And then in some scenarios and situations, you can see how this might be a bishop. So in notation, if it's a pawn, they typically don't put the P. But if it's any other piece, they put the, or the letter. If it's any other piece, they put the letter. So you can see here, NG13, NB. So that is knight on rank B, file 8 to C6. No capture. No capture there. There is, however, a capture here on C6. And I believe that's a pawn, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to use that notation. And I think we'll be good there. So, right. So now the question is like, what do we need to do with adder? So we go here. We're going to have adder do the work for us and the LM do the work. We're not going to do the work. If I just take a look here and I see what files are in here, we recall I just started up adder. So, no, I don't want to run that yet. What I want to do is I want to add, and I'm going to add assets.go, and I'm going to add board.go. Sorry. Got to do /add. I wish I had memory completion. That's the one thing I wish I had. So if I type /run, it could just show me the /runs that are in previously, and that I think would be pretty nice. Yes, we want to add this to our output. No, we're going to say no. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So we're going to ask it, do you know long out the difference between short and we'll say chess algebraic notation and long algebraic. So let's see here. If we go back to this, yeah, long algebraic. So we'll go with that. We're just going to ask it if it knows the difference, because what we're going to do is we're going to try to prime the chat into the specifics of that. So it says standard algebraic notation. This is the most commonly used notation in chess. I use it uses a concise format to describe a move. Move is typically represented by the piece's initial, e.g. n, knight, q4 queen, followed by the destination square. For capture, an X is included. Special moves. This notation provides more detail by specifying both the standard and ending squares. So the long algebraic notation provides more detail. It's useful for clarity, which I think it'll help us when we actually program here. Example, NG1 to F3 means the knight moves from G1 to F3. If there's an X, there's a capture. Please update this code to use long. Actually, let me rephrase that a little bit. I think long algebraic notation will be easier to code and understand. Please migrate this this code to using long algebraic notation. Please update the tests to match and ensure the tests are passing. So I'm just gonna tell it to go ahead and let's just see what it implements. I'm not, we're being a little bit cavalier here, but we're trying to understand and flex the overall like usage of the repository and the LLM. So we don't really want to hammer it down too much. Okay, so we got two functions. Test two algebraic notation. I don't think those tests are right. Want D2X3. Why is this want BC? We're just going to ask if these test cases are correct. The test cases appear to be correct on the expected behavior of long algebraic notation. Let's break down the results. The move is expected to be B2, C3, indicating a piece moved from B2 to C3. The failure output B1 to C3 suggests that the function is incorrectly calculating the starting rank. Okay, but if we look at long algebraic notation, there are no dashes in the notation. So that's wrong. Long algebraic notation does not contain dashes. Please update the tests. Correct this. Okay. So it updated these without dashes, which is what I want. I still don't think this is right. But at the very least, we've got it without dashes. Let's run the shell command. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Two algebraic notation. Okay, so I asked for the tests. I said, please update the tests to correct this. Okay. So now what I'm going to say is, the tests look great, but the output of the function is now wrong. Please update the function to match expected results of the test. Right. Okay. So sorry about that. Let's go ahead and just take a look at what it's doing here. Um, it's removing the dashes, just the capture format to maximally expect the output. Let's just tell it to go ahead, and it's going to commit those changes. I'm kind of using the ask function here so that we can kind of ask it some specific questions about the code base and kind of get some answers and responses there. So let's kind of see what's going on here. Right. Yeah, let's run this shell command now. Yes, we're going to add that. We'll ask it to fix the error and run the shell command. Right. Okay. So, to algebraic notation, B1 to C3, want B2 to C3, B2, D2. So why is it why is this happening? Why does it think B1, 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 D2? Where's it getting the 2 from? Doesn't make any sense. Um, whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Right. Okay. So let's take a look and see what's actually going on here in the two algebraic notation. Um, let's see. Let's see. So we get the from x, the from y, the 2x, the 2y. Okay, that's very confusing to me. I would prefer to be from x, 2x, from y, 2y. Or I'm sorry, from x, from y, 2x, 2. Okay, no, that is right. So from x, from y, 2x, 2y. Okay. So then if that is true, that is right. Okay. So then what in the world is going on here? 1 7. How is that B1? Is it because the board is inversed? 7 and then 2. Okay. And it wants B2 C3. Um okay, let's try this. Let's just open this whole thing up. I don't know why I just did this specific file. Get rid of the assets and we'll look at our game test. 1725 knight. This is not a knight. This is I don't think. I mean, with no actual like starting board, I'm not really sure that is gonna work. Um, handle special moves like castling. Okay. From file, from rank. What's percent %C? What does percent %C do? Is that like a character from int? Is that what's going on here? All right. So B2 to C3. So B is 1, A would be 0, 1 would be B, 2 is 3, so that's right. 7 is an offset, but it should be 0 offset. So 7 is actually the 8th position. So I actually think I'm confused, and I think I'm confused by the way the LLM chose to approach this problem. This handles captures. So why do we have another function called we have another test called with captures because we're trying to do just the captures there. Okay, so if we run this again, we'll look at our output here in VS Code, get a different perspective here. B1C3 wants B2C3. B1C3 wants B2C3. 7 is 1. So I think actually the test is wrong. Cause pawn move as well. I think that's the case because this is also 2, which is 6. And all these are 2s, which is 6. So I think the test result here is just incorrect. And so if I, with giving the LLM some help here, that works. We're going to just run with that. And then let's take a look and see what happens down here. So D2 to D3 want D2X C3. Why is that? Pawn captures. So this here, let's just take a look at, if I go to here, we can do this. 1 second, let me just load it up here so I can see what I'm doing and make sure I'm not exposing anything I don't want to expose. You'll have to bear with me 1 second. There's a way in chess.com which we're going to utilize because it's helpful. I can do learn, let's see here, watch, news, social, more. There's a way of opening up a chessboard and I can load it from notation. Now if I go to, what is it, analysis, maybe I can do, load from Fen, add game. Wait, what? I'm sorry, but that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, there's like, okay, so you can, in chess.com, if you're unfamiliar, you can actually load games by setting up a new, like, little new analysis. So you can paste. Oops, sorry. So you can paste into this scenario pretty much anything you want. So I don't know what I was doing here, so I'll look at that. And so the move is 3, 6. So D2, which is right, to C3. So if we look here, D2 um, is here, D2 to C3. There's no capture. So actually the test here should be um, but I actually want to test B2 to C3. So B2 to C3, that was a capture. D2 to C3, there should be no capture here. So I actually agree that there is no capture here, but what I actually want to test is D2 to, well, that's interesting. C3, in order for it to be C3, it would need to be this, which is the C position, because you've got 0, 1, 2. So we actually want to go from 3, position 3, which is D to C3, and this is actually pawn captures again, because these are both pawn captures. And so if I run this, based on this setup, this is actually right. So I'm sort of correcting the tests. D2x C99. Well, C99 doesn't work. Why do we have 99? B1x C99. That also doesn't work. So capturing is broken. But then I also want to flip this. I want to inverse, and I want to say that if we have 2, 5, right? Because we're gonna test both sides of this to 1, 7. It should be well, we can't really do that. So it'll be C3, but then we also want to capture to, we'll say 7, well, that's B, so 2, 7, 2, 7. Whoops. Except that's B1 because they're one index offset. So we want this capture to take place. And so that XB1, but we're going to do it in long notation, which is fine. 3XB1. And so, and if we rerun this, so we know now that it's just our captures that are wrong. So let's take a look before we go back to the LM, because at this point I'm just saving the LM, right? The LM is kind of failing to do what we need. And so this is the point in which we're kind of getting in on ourselves and kind of saying, okay, what in the world is going on here? Really, if we can take the move and really we can just embed an X in it. Um, let's see if it can figure it out. Let's see if the LM can figure this part out. If not, I'll fix it. But we'll just say no, and we're gonna run go test again. Yes. Calculation of the destination rank. Let's correct the logic to ensure it properly calculates the rank for the destination square. Here's the fix in game.go. And so it went ahead and still this should be percent %C. And it's missing the fact that it's missing it. It thinks it fixed it because it added it here. But it's not. Oh, it went ahead and fixed it, but it's still not right. Okay, let's see. We're gonna see what it does now. It's still not doing it. It's not finding its issue, which is here, which is that this is always C. It's not percent %C. Let's see if we can help it out. That's not quite right. That's not right. That's not correct. Looks like you are missing one of the print format directives. That's worse. So at this point, what's happening is it doesn't really have a way to reason, but it's just kind of guessing, right? This is why LMs don't really have cognitive ability. It's not really looking holistically. It's just looking at the data provided and kind of coming up with an answer. Um, and so if I say this and I say the initial um, assignment of move is correct, I think we can use that, but we need to insert an X on a capture in the middle of the to and froms. Let's see what it does with that. I mean, is it re-providing the entire thing for me here? That's still wrong. Um, yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna do it ourselves. So the issue here is that we can just take this. This is like kind of the poor man's way of doing it, the cheat, if you will. Um, and we can just put that here, and then the answer is this, right? You need an X in between with capture. That really should solve it for the most part, unless I'm missing something else here, which I could be. B1XC wants B2XC. Well, okay, so that is a failure of the test because we know that 7 is position 1, not 2, and it wasn't able to figure that out earlier too. So let's go ahead and correct that. Okay, cool. So now let me go back to adder and just say, uh, that wasn't right. That still was not correct. Correct. I just modified the file myself. If you want to take a look and see how I fixed it. Now we're pair programming. We're pair programming with the LLM, right? It's exciting times. Exciting times. Right. Okay, we'll get that out of here. I didn't realize it brought the whole thing down. Right. Good stuff. Hey, if anybody's in here, you guys have any questions or observations, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. Like I'll absolutely respond to your questions, and this is really meant to be interactive too. It's not meant to be just a monologue. So if you got something to say, feel free to post it, and I'll try to answer your questions. Um, but right, okay, so we're moving along. We understand the limitations of the LLM. We understand where we actually had to come in and sort of be a hero. I'm not going to sit here and try to tweak and try to figure out why the LLM's not giving me the right answer and try to make it look better than it is. The answer is it's just it doesn't have the cognitive ability to really figure out what I'm trying to ask when we get to a certain level. Now, maybe some of the newer models are getting there. We're pretty cutting edge here, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But at this point, being able to just go in there and figure out why and just doing it myself doesn't seem so bad. So let's see if we actually run. If we just run go run and kind of see what we get here. So can I still move to a valid location? What happens if I try to move that? Okay, perfect. I can't. Let's move this out. Let's move this out. Let's move this out. Okay, that's a bug that I need to fix as well. That's kind of separate, but we'll just keep iterating here. Okay, still a bug. Right, righto. Um, move that, move that, move that, move that. Okay. Why is that not working? D8 to A5. Is that not a valid move? Or is it because, no. Okay. Okay, we were moving the right piece. D1. Wait, oh, wait a second. This is not, yeah, this is D1 to B3, right? Yeah, that is right. So the movement's correct, but it says it's invalid. So what do I have wrong about algebraic, the long algebraic notation? So let's go back to that wiki article. Here are pawns being moved. Here are knights being moved. NG1 is the okay, so um all right, so it looks like to me that it's not valid because let me check one other thing before I get too crazy here. With not nil, there is a way um of defining new game. I think it's use notation. Yeah. Okay, let's look for this real quick. Not nil chess. And there's a way in the examples long algebraic notation. Here we go. Chess not use notation, long algebraic notation. So in order for us to use it properly, which the application didn't figure out either, I don't know if this is the issue, but we have to define it as we're using a long algebraic notation in order for things to work properly with the chess library. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to come back here and we're going to cancel this and we're going to say no. And then we're going to run go run main.go again. And we're just going to check basic functionality still works. That's good. That's good. That's good. I don't know. I can't move white twice. That failed me again. That failed me again. It's okay. That failed me again. That failed me again. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, that worked. C4, B5. There was no X there. It didn't really calculate the capture, but it didn't seem to be a problem with the engine, so we're going to keep going. Go here. Go here. Go here. Or whose turn is it? I lost track. Here. So B8, C6. Okay, so it is black's turn. Okay. So D7 to D6. So I think the issue is we've got the move in there, but I think the attempted move should be knight B8 C6. Yeah. So I'm going to ask we'll just go ahead and add it and just we need to ensure that the capture notation correctly inserts an X. Let's update that. Well, it is inserting an X. Oh no. It modified. It modified my code. It it broke my code. The LLM broke what I had working. It reverted it. If you see what it did here, it didn't even ask this time, which is kind of an issue of adder, but I said go ahead and add the output of the test. I put the addition in place. Um, it went ahead and or I put the logs into adder so that it can make a decision. It went ahead and said, hey, this is why it's broken. And then it made these changes here. And then it just decided to commit them. Okay, well, that's a bit of a problem. Let's say no. How do is there a way to like roll back? How do we roll back? Um, okay, your last change broke things. Please roll them back. I really don't want to like figure out how to do it. Go ahead. Yes. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Righto. I don't know why I keep saying that. I don't say righto normally. I don't think. It's just something I've been doing today. Um, I also didn't commit my changes after I made them because I'm a bad programmer. Um, what are these? These are my tests to fix, right? Yeah, these are my corrections to the tests. I hate LMs now. Why would you do that? Oh, we were working so perfectly together and you foobarred me. Um, that's not what I meant to do at all. All right. So, oh man, I'm toast right now. I'm absolutely toast. Right. Okay, so we just got to fix it. I'm a little bit annoyed, but we'll just go back in and manually do it, and then I'll do what any good boy should do, and I will commit my code and my changes so that if it messes it up again, um, we'll be okay. So let's go back to our tests here. Run our tests. Run our package tests. Run our file tests rather. This just runs a retest in the file. Okay, cool. We're fixed. We should be happy. Um, let's give it a run real quick. Oh man, I got too crazy. 1 second. And we'll just do, oh, I forgot the test. All right. Well, all of our conversation now is gone with it, so whatever. Still not happy, but yes. I'm just gonna commit this, and I'm just gonna say git add, git commit shem, fix issues with captures incorrect. Captures. Right. Okay. So we're going to run this now. And if I go through the same routine I was just in and I capture, okay, we've got pawn captures. They're just, pawn captures are working great. I can even, pawn moves seem to be working okay. But any movement of any other piece type is not working. My queen piece types are not working. Any movement of my knight here is not working. Of course, I can't capture that either. C7x d8. I think it's because I'm capturing to a piece that is a queen, or I'm capturing from. And if we go back to our wiki guide here, and we look at that algebraic long algebraic notation, if we look at captures, BD4, C3, knight, I'd say bishop in D4 captures C3, which would be a pawn since it's a capture there. So I think that makes sense. Yeah, so I think the issue is that if it's any piece other than a a pawn, we must provide it in the two algebraic notation. So let's see if we can do this. We're going to say no because it messed up my code last time. And we're going to say that the two algebraic notation is providing long algebraic notation form, which is generally correct for pawns, but we are missing the piece indicator if a square start or is any other piece than a pawn or empty space or empty. Let's see what it says. The two algebraic notation function is in your code currently generates a move string in a format that resembles the algebraic notation, which is typically used for pawns. However, for other pieces, the notation should include the piece identifier: N for knight, B for bishop, R for rook, Q for queen, K for king. To address this, you need to modify this function to include the piece type for non-pawn pieces. Here's how you can adjust the function. Don't care. Gonna browse over it. This modification adds the piece that to the move string for non-pawn pieces, ensuring that the algebraic notation is correct for all types of moves. I'm going to say, great. Let's update the test first, then the code. To update the test case, we need to do the following. So if we want to do knight, etc., 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 okay, then this is also true. And yeah, so it should be pawns. This should be a knight. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. I'm just going to say go ahead. I'm not really sure what that was about. What they changed there. So the piece type. Okay. So I think this is good, but it's only putting the piece type in the beginning of it and only if it's not a pawn. The problem is that we also need to look at the destination too and also place the destination there. But yeah, let's go ahead and run the tests. Oh, okay. Um Does it look like it didn't update the tests? Yeah, it didn't update the tests. Okay, well, that helps. I was like, something doesn't make sense here. I think one of those test cases doesn't make sense to me. Um, but let's see. Nice. Okay, we passed all our tests. So we're gonna go run. We're gonna run the base case again and just kind of see like, okay, great. Okay, do we capture? We do. What happens if I move a knight? I can move knights now. That's a bonus. We're getting places. Um, why? The only thing is when I moved that knight, I didn't get the algebraic. Why is this coming out the way it is? Because that's not the algebraic notation that I was actually expecting. Um, based on this here. Um, okay, this looks entirely wrong to me. So it looks like it's just grabbing the last, like, of the move history of the game. Attempted move. Where's my brain? I guess the way that the chess game is reporting it is probably the short algebraic notation and not the longer form, maybe. And so that's different than what we moved here, which is fine. Move piece two. I kind of want to like incorporate this instead. We don't really need all of this. We could just kind of understand, like, it's kind of nice seeing that the game board validated our move in a success, but I feel like that's not necessary. Okay, so let's take another look here and kind of see we'll kind of go through our test case again. Move, great. Move bishop here. Okay, exciting. Move pawn here. That's exciting. Move queen. Oh, I just moved. Okay. Move this here. Oh, we just can't move black twice. What am I doing? Okay, well, here's where I'm going. Here's where I'm going. Okay, that's exciting. Now we've got all of our like captures in place, right? So let's take a look here. Let's just move this here. We're gonna move this here. We're gonna be dumb here, and then we're gonna move this here. Okay. So I can't do. I'm actually in checkmate. Or rather, black is in checkmate now. Okay, so that's exciting. We've got a functioning chessboard with some reasonable logging. If we take a look here and see, we can see what moves are attempted. But black is in checkmate right now. We have no idea that the game is ended. So let's take a look, and just before I get too far ahead of myself, I modified this, right? We'll just I'll just kind of go to do that. We're going to clear this. And we're going to come back here. So we got some exciting progress here. Um, So what I want to say is this. I want to say things are looking good, but the game ended and I had no idea. I placed. Can we indicate when the game finishes or when the game is complete and who won, please? All right, let's see what it does. To indicate, well, sorry, it's kind of hard to read this when scrolling. To indicate when the game is complete and who won, you can modify the update method in your game struct to check the game state after each move. If the game is over, you can display a message indicating the result. Here's how you can implement this. Check the game state after each move. Check if the game is over using the chessgame.outcome method. Display the result if the game is over. Display a message indicating the winner or if it's a draw. Here's how we can do that. So it's kind of just giving me the raw code here. And again, I'm trusting the LM as much as possible until I get to a blocking point where I have to intervene, right? So after a successful move, check the game's outcome using g.chessgame.outcome. Print a message indicating the result if the game is over. This will provide feedback. All right, so I'm just going to tell it to go ahead. Let's do it. I'm excited. We're gonna do some more stuff here. That's the replace. So it's going to find just the algebraic notation move string print, and it's going to do a check each time. And if the game outcome is what it is, it's going to indicate who was won, and we're going to go from there. Okay, cool. So let's try this. Slash run, go run dot, let's go. Okay, go through our normal process here. We're going to check the basics. That all seems fine. Go here, go here, go here, go here. I don't know. Go here, go here, go here. Okay, that was interesting because it was white's move. I'm not super happy with some of that jittering, but we're okay. Right. I'm just gonna like forcibly force this to fail. This like hurts to do, like putting myself in check. Or checkmate. I don't know. Okay, so this is not mate yet, so that's good. So we're in check. Let me try to move a different piece. Okay, that's gonna fail. That's what I expect because we're using the not in the library, so that's doing pretty good. We can move here, we can block that. I can then check. Okay, they've got to move. Okay, great. We don't have castle. We don't. I'm sorry. We don't have piece upgrades yet. So that's kind of a problem. But let's just put them in check again. They've got a choice, and just for simplicity, we'll move them there. I can move here. The only place they can really move is here, which I realize I'm probably playing terrible chess in front of a live audience right now, and that's okay. Check down here. Oh, can't go up there. Can go here. Check. Only place they can go is here. Okay, whatever. Just check here. Okay, we're in check. Oh, we can still move. We're gonna move here. This is getting annoying. We're gonna go here. Can't go here, can't go here, can go here. I'm gonna go here. Okay, great. Their only option is up or down. I'm gonna move them up. We're gonna go here. They can go here. I'm gonna move here. And we've got a message here in our log, game over, white wins. Okay, you just saw me play the worst chess against myself ever. So please don't comment. I don't know what I was doing. I was just trying to get to a point of check. So at least we know the game is finished. But as you can see, you only see that from the logs. So, no. We're going to say that worked great, but I would like a pop-up message that asks, that indicates the winner and asks if they would like to restart or close. On restart, I would like the chess board / game reset. On close, I would like to close the program. Okay, so I have a feeling that we got through the hard part, the cognitive part, and most of this stuff should be pretty straightforward to add on to the game. We'll kind of see what we do here, or what it does here as far as getting this last little bit in place. But while we're doing this, I'll just kind of give an evaluation. I think we're pretty much done with this leg of it for the LLM. We're going to try, I think, Sonnet or something else next. But the interesting thing about this is that we made some pretty good progress. We did run into some hurdles, and I do think this might have been better for me as far as a programmer. Might have been able to program faster with it. It only cost me an extra 17 cents today. I guess this is only for this session, probably close to $1 is what I'm gonna guess. But let's go ahead, make these changes. I do think it is interesting, but when you get to a point where you're fighting with the LLM, trying to figure out why it's not doing what you want, that's really where you need to pivot and you need to say, okay, let me just do this myself. Yes, fix the lint errors. You just have to kind of buckle down and do it yourself, and that's essentially what I did here. I just said, okay, what are we doing? Oh, we're still making changes. And so we have to know that if we're going to use this technology, just with anything, we have to like, okay, is it really helping me save my time or is it not? And how can I use this to accelerate the little things like creating a modal prompt and things like that? Don't really want to do. Oh, you can do a / undo. I didn't see that earlier. If you want to go back. Okay, so we're gonna go run dot. Excuse me? Okay. Maybe we just didn't have it in that one repo. Aha. Okay. Boom. 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 I'm just gonna keep saying boom over and over again. It's exciting, right? We'll go with that. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. We'll go with the fact that you made a mistake. We'll go with you trying to be clever. Go with me capturing. We'll go with the bishop coming out for no reason. We'll go with that there. And we'll go with you moving a random pawn for me to put you in checkmate. Okay, but where's my modal? I didn't have the modal didn't pop up. Why not? Um, Can you please? So it didn't do what I asked. This is terrible. What did it do? What did it do? What did it do? It didn't do nothing. You'll go back and look at the git history and see, but can you please pop up a message with buttons when the game completes? One button for restart, one for close. Okay, thanks. I just gotta speak to it the right way. Oh, here we go. Now it's drawing some buttons. We're going places. We're going places. Let's do it. Come on. I wanted it last time and I got asked for it again. All right, let's see what happens. We're going to force the checkmate again. I guess I could just do like a checkmate in 4, right? Instead of doing this complicated like way of like testing the parameters here. But, you know, whatever. Um I still don't have my, where's my pop-up? Where's my pop-up? Okay. So here. All right, let's see what the code did here. If I go to game.go and we've got, let's see here, board size, pieces is dragging. No, no, no. My dog is being loud for what reason I don't know. And it's frustrating because I don't want to deal with it right now. If g.game over, switch g.outcome, message, debug prints, restart, draw rectangle, draw rect, draw stuff. This is happening in the draw function, which is called where. I guess I could do this the easier way instead of the hard way. Find all references. Well, that's our problem. There is draw is not called. I think the update method is what is being called. Oh, all right. I kind of want to figure this out. We got the outcome right here. I'm just gonna steal this. So I don't think draw is called anywhere, is it? No, but update is, right? Because we have the code. Like this is sorry, I know this is a little boring, but game over, white wins is working. This is working. This is, oh, that's terrible. I'm just not convinced. Where's game over being set? Oh, it's being set in here. In the update. I mean, okay, so is it just that game over is not being set? Or it's getting reset? But like why is the draw method actually working? It's an EV image. Okay, so that's being probably triggered automatically. So then game over is not okay. What if we just game over doesn't need to be well, it says if game over is false. Why are we setting it back to false? Oh, that's the reset, I think. Okay. So if that's the reset, then we're not setting chess dot no outcome. Okay. Well, okay, well then g dot game over equals true, right? Like is that what's missing here? Is that it's just not no. Okay, we gotta hurry up here. So let's see if we can just knock this out real quick. Um right. 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 There we go. There's our little modal. It looks absolutely terrible, but there we go. So the end condition was not being set. So we hit restart. Okay, we're back in business. We're back in business. Okay, so that's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for here is just a quick little way of like restarting. So let's go here. 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 Boom. Here we are again. Invite close. That is awesome. All right, so mission accomplished. That modal sucks. There's no background. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. Um, can we add a background to the modal buttons or to the game completes pop-up window? It's a lot of changes here just for a background color. All right, let's try this again. Um, here, 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 here. Oh, no. All right. I think we're gonna call it there. I, the LM is what it is. It definitely can help in some cases, but at this point, I've gone 2 iterations trying to get it to set a background color on the modal that pops up here with the restart and close button, and it couldn't do it. So could I just go in and do it myself and probably learn more from that and then do it myself? Absolutely. LLMs are not saving the day yet. They can't cognitively think, and they're definitely falling short of some very basic requests, especially in a complex code base like this. So, but as you can see, we did get somewhere, and with I would say relatively minor help, we got to the point of using knowledge that it was able to ascertain or know, and a little bit of nudging here and there. It could not create the 2 algebraic notation code on its own without fail. I had to kind of coax it and push it in that direction. But we did get something. And so for what I put into it, the amount of work that I added to it was not that much. I did also notice that there's this very faint. Press R to restart or Q to quit up here. I can just, can I hit R? Well, why would it? It doesn't have that. Anyway, I think it was a great exercise. We're going to keep iterating on it. We're going to put together some more time in the future and we'll see how far we can get. But thanks for joining me. I look forward to next time. And until I